truly one of the most unusual ever filmed, contains scenes which, under no circumstances, should be viewed by anyone with a heart condition or anyone who is easily upset.
Predictive programming is a theory suggesting that media and entertainment are used to psychologically prepare the public for future events. Proponents believe that films, TV shows, and other forms of media foreshadow real-life events, often on a large scale, such as political changes, societal shifts, or major disasters. Critics argue that this theory is rooted in confirmation bias, where people only see connections because they look for them after events occur, and that it overlooks the natural human tendency to create and consume stories about possible future scenarios.
What would you have done on September the 12th, 2001? What would you have done if you'd been president?
What would I have done?
Yeah.
I would have done a legitimate investigation to find out what exactly happened on 9/11. How did they know who did this so quickly like they did Lee Harvey Oswald? How quick they knew Lee Harvey Oswald killed Kennedy.
Because the people who did it were identified and we knew who they were.
Well, then why couldn't we have stopped them beforehand if they were identified and we knew who they were?
It was a failure of intelligence. Everyone's accepted
No, it wasn't. We knew before with Condoleezza Rice's memo on August 6th when it stated right in the memo, bin Laden to steal planes and run them into buildings. And more stuff is coming out now also, how much the Bush administration ignored the intelligence. It was almost like they ignored it because they wanted it to happen.
Oh, come off it, Jesse.
No, not oh, come off it. Wait a minute. Every war fought starts with a false flag operation.
You can't, in all seriousness, sit there and try and make out anybody.
Okay, let me ask you this, Piers. Wait a minute. Let me ask you something. How much studying have you actually done of 9/11 other than what the government's told you and what mainstream media has told you? I've been studying it 4 years.
I was editor of a national newspaper.
I've talked to people.
Wait a minute. In depth every day for 5-6 months.
Really?
So I know a lot about it.
Well,
one thing I do know is,
let me ask you this
you cannot say that any member of the Bush administration knew it was going to happen or wanted it to happen. It's a ridiculous thing to say.
Ridiculous.
But remember this day.
Our work here will ensure a peace mankind has never seen. Until somebody builds a bigger one.
You are the man who gave them the power to destroy themselves. And the world is not prepared.
Or this bite. When Clay goes rushing into town hoping to find any information he can on what's going on, he encounters a drone dropping off hundreds of these red flyers in what appears to be Arabic. I had it translated and it roughly states, quote, "We ask you pay immediate attention to what we say in this publication. We have the most dangerous and destructive explosives in history, and we leave this horrific fact for you to contemplate and stress the validity of what is said. I'm using this on your land, and steps must be taken to stop the resistance built for peaceful surrender of your land." Danny says his friend in San Francisco experienced the same thing, but the flyers there were in Korean or Mandarin. But if you're invading an English-speaking country, why rain down flyers that no one can even read? This leads into George's theory of what's going on. When he was talking to his defense contractor friend, he said there was one 3-step maneuver to overthrow a government that scared him more than anything. This starts with stage 1, isolation, the disabling of communication and transportation. This is why we see the satellites not working, no GPS, and various forms of transportation like these electric Teslas used to block off main arteries into and out of cities. Stage 2 is synchronized chaos. You want to throw as much misinformation as possible, like those flyers, to scare and divide the people, eventually leading to step 3, an eventual coup. Whether this happens by civil war or other means, it results in the collapse of the government. You can actually overthrow a government without having to send in troops. It'll overthrow itself. So if a group of countries got together and enacted this 3-step plan and were successful, they could potentially topple the United States. At the end of the film, we'll see New York hit with nuclear bombs. It's not certain whether these are American bombs let loose on their own people or if they're from another country.
On behalf of everyone here at Vault-Tec. Welcome.
Let's call this what it is, bud. Your sales aren't up to snuff, and you need money.
You're one to talk, Freddy boy. You could lose money running a casino.
Our sales are fine. Sure, rumors of the peace negotiations have set us back a bit, but we're here to offer you an opportunity. We'd like to collaborate on some of our vaults.
I don't get the vaults, but it's time to come out. What if people are still alive on the surface? There'll be Stone Age creatures probably eat whoever steps out of your vaults.
That isn't an issue. Our vaults have the resources to survive for centuries. Meanwhile, our competitors, every other human who isn't us, will be dead on the surface. Because after all, what is the ultimate weapon of mass destruction?
Time.
Time is the apex predator. And in the event of an incident, time is the weapon with which we will defeat all of our enemies. That is how we will win the great game of capitalism, not by outfighting anyone, but by outliving them.
Even if you outlive all external threats, here's my problem with the vaults. You can find a bunch of rats in a nest for a long time. They end up eating each other. So who's to say your rats are going to survive better than those animals on the surface?
Bud here has an idea for 3 interconnected vaults. But we need more ideas. We need your ideas. Because it was the spirit of competition that made our companies great. And I propose we bring that same spirit of competition to our solution. We have over 100 vaults spread across America. Enough for each of you to claim several, where you can play out your own ideas for how to create the perfect conditions for humanity, whatever you want to do. No one needs to know. And may the best idea win.
We could intentionally overcrowd a vault so people have to compete to survive inside it.
We have been developing a robot that delivers milk to the front door. It's quite intelligent. I would like to see a vault governed by it.
What about using a vault to develop a super mutant soldier using illegal immigrants?
We could pump psychotropic drugs into the air supply.
We could separate parents and children, and only the smartest kids reach adulthood.
It's a fun idea. There's a lot of earning potential with the end of the world. But we're talking about making a significant investment based on a hypothetical. How can you guarantee results?
By dropping the bomb ourselves. Miss Howard?
Well, back when I was in the Marines, they taught us that if they ever drop a really big bomb, they told us to hold up your thumb just like this. And if the cloud is smaller than your thumb, now you run for the hills.
And if it's bigger than your thumb?
They told us not to bother running.
Do you think it's gonna happen?
I certainly hope not. But us cowpokes, we take it as it comes, right?
Can I have a slice, Dad?
Now, let me see if I can't rustle you up a piece.
All right, one piece of cake coming up from my favorite cowgirl.
Is it your thumb or mine?
That's smoke, Janie. It's just a fire.
Help you folks? Just looking for gas. You gotta look the fuel permit? No, we're actually just passing through. Can't help, sorry.
Sir, if we pay,
I was never gonna give it free.
over the odds.
What's over the odds?
300 for half a tank and 2 cans.
300 buys you a sandwich. We got ham or cheese?
300 Canadian.
Okay.
19 states have seceded.
The United States Army ramps up activity.
The White House issued warnings to the Western forces as well as the Florida Alliance.
The three-term president assures the uprising will be dealt with swiftly.
Let me know if you want to try anything on.
Are you guys aware there's like a pretty huge civil war going on all across America?
We just try to stay out. With what we see on the news, seems like it's for the best.
Citizens of America, the so-called Western forces of Texas and California have suffered a very great defeat at the hands of the United States military.
Mr. President, do you regret the use of airstrikes against American citizens? You're moving to D.C. today.
We need to go down there.
They shoot journalists on sight in the Capitol. Every instinct in me says this is death. Bloody.
Every time I survived the war zone, I thought I was sending a warning home. Don't do this. But here we are.
There's some kind of misunderstanding here. What? Well, you're American, okay? Okay. What kind of American are you? You don't know?
The Western forces will reach the White House on July 4th.
Oh my God.
Get in the car! Get in the car!
Move, move, move!
We're gonna hang back.
I'm not hanging back.
One nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.